ABC News. Good morning, I'm Simon Lauder. The US says it has struck nearly 2,000 targets in Iran, as nearly 800 Iranians have been killed since the war began. Bridget Rollison reports from Jerusalem.
Israel's Defense Force says it's begun a large-scale wave of new strikes targeting infrastructure in Iran's capital, Tehran. Iran's leadership compound has been hit in the attacks, including the presidential office. Iran's Red Crescent says 787 people have been killed there since the war began. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the US and Israel will continue to strike Iran with force. Iran has ramped up its retaliatory attacks on Israel, as well as Qatar, Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
US President Donald Trump denies that Israel forced his hand in launching military action on Iran. Barbara Miller reports.
The US president has contradicted his Secretary of State on the reasons behind the timing of Operation Epic Fury. Marco Rubio said yesterday the US acted because it knew Israel was about to attack Iran and that would put US interests at risk. But Donald Trump says the US acted because Iran was about to attack Israel.
I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand.
The US president also claimed the US action had prevented nuclear war. Barbara Miller, ABC News, Washington.
And the US president has levelled more criticism at his British counterpart, saying the UK has been unhelpful in its campaign against Iran. Europe correspondent Elias Clure reports from London.
Donald Trump has spent the last few days saying that the UK was too slow to provide Americans permission to use British air bases to launch attacks into Iran. He's now increased the pressure on his British counterpart, Sir Keir Starmer, saying he's been unhelpful and he's no Winston Churchill.
By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either, and it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land.
The UK says it's helping the Americans carry out defensive operations. Iran has warned that aiding the Americans and Israel in its so-called defensive operations would be considered an act of war.
The head of the United Nations Human Rights Office has called for an investigation into a strike that reportedly killed more than 165 girls and staff at a school in southern Iran. Iranian state media reports funerals are being held for many of the girls after the school was struck on the first day of the US-Israeli attacks on Iran. The US says it would not intentionally target a school. Officials from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade have been told to cancel all non-essential overseas travel as the government prepares for a potentially massive consular response in the Middle East. Here's Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jedgetts.
DFAT has now activated its 24-hour crisis centre to help coordinate the response to the situation in the Middle East, with Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong describing the consular challenge as unprecedented. The ABC understands the department has told staff they should suspend travel to Europe and the Middle East unless they're getting on a plane to help with DFAT's crisis response. Even staff who are looking to travel to other parts of the world, including Asia, Pacific and the Americas, will now need to get the tick of approval from senior leaders at the level of Deputy Secretary or First Assistant Secretary.
To other news now, and Liberals have called billionaire James Packer's donation to